Welcome to the new video in the series in which we are making notes app, and in this video we will write integration end-to-end test for our edit note flow, feature flow. Let's say if in our home screen we have saying this note, and when user tap on this, and we will redirect it to this screen. This will show title and description. We will append that or add new title and description in it, and by pressing back button this node will be updated, and the updated node will be populated in our UI in here. So this is this feature which we will cover through our tests with writing test from different and verifying things from different angle. Okay, so let's jump into our code, and in here we will create in our Android test source set, we will create a file named as edit node test. This will be a class, and do some initial things to make it working with Hilt and Compose. So for that we will first define a role. Hilt Android role, and to set up the Dagger Hilt for test, so for testing purpose is already covered in the previous video. If you want to understand the complete initial steps, that how we can configure or set up our Dagger Hilt for test cases, then you can see in the previous video. You can also find the previous video link with the exact timestamp in the this video description below. And in here we will provide a Hilt component activity, which we have already created in our previous video, and also provide the ordering. In order 1 we want this rule to be applied, and after that we want to apply this rule, and also annotate it with Hilt Android test. And now in here we will create a function named as edit one node, updated node should be reflected in home screen listing. So this is the expected behavior which we want, and in here we will use compose test rule dot content, and in the content, as we need these both screens to perform our test. So for that, here we will use home navigation, and which requires nav controller instance. Okay, and now at this stage, when our test run, then we will wait for this. We need to verify that we are successfully landed on this our home screen. So for that we will use this nodes app text to verify. So compose test rule dot wait until and provide the timeout for 4 seconds. On node with text, nodes app is displayed. So when this text is displayed, it's mean that we are landed on our this screen. Then next we as this nodes are fetching from the database, and after that they will be reflected. So it will be take 1 or 2 seconds, or in some devices might be 500 milliseconds to complete that flow. So for that we also need to wait for the first node item to be reflected in the list. So as at this point we can observe that when we run our test initially, then there will be no node in our database. So for that we need to define a way that when this test run, then before that there should be few entries in our database. So for that we will create a method named as setup and annotate it with before. So it should be called before this test method. Actually we need to annotate it with test. So in here we will add our entries in the database. So to add entries in the database we need an instance of add node use case and annotate it with inject, because Dagger Hilt provided us a way to inject the dependencies, and in here Hilt role dot inject. So our this add node use case instance will be available after this call. Now in here we will call this node execute and provide the node object in it. So for that we have our dummy nodes created dummy nodes. So we will create a node 1 dummy node entity dot node 1 dot to model. So as we need 2 nodes in our database, so we will make a copy of it and modify it like this. Now we will pass these in here, node 1 and node 2. As it's showing some error that we cannot call suspend function in the normal function. So for that we will wrap this setup into run test to use coroutine in our test. And next thing is we also want to make sure that these entries should be successfully inserted in the database. Then this call should be started, because as this is a suspend function, so this execution at line number 36 compiler won't wait for the completion of this method, and it will move to the next line. So to make it compulsory at this point that this execute method should be complete its execution. So for that we will wrap this function into async and use await here, and same for this one. Now our these both will be completed, and then this setup method will be execution will reach at the end of this setup method. Now we also want that whenever this function, this test is successfully this test has complete its execution, then we want to delete those nodes, because we don't want to use the existing node for the next test case. So for that we will create another method named as onDestory and annotate it with after, so it should be called after running every test. And in here we will delete all those nodes. So for that we will need another use case dependency named as delete all not use case. Where it is? And we also annotate it with inject, and in here we will call delete all not execute. So it will delete all the nodes, as this is the suspend function. So we will use run test here and also wrap this into async, so this execution should be completed in this onDestory scope only. So yeah, that's it. Now we have our new entries in the database, and we also need the node ID. So for that we will node1.id would be 1 because our IDs are in incremental order, and for node2 we have ID node2.id. Node2 ID will be saved in this variable. So we will use this IDs during our testing. So now in here we are successfully landed over our home screen. Now we should wait for the first item to be reflected in the database on the UI actually. So for that we will write compose test rule dot wait until, wait for 4 seconds that on node with text node1.title is displayed. If it is displayed, that means our node is showing in the listing and we can proceed our next step of testing. So we need to tap on this card item, then we will be navigated to this detail screen. So for that we need to refer this card. So if we go to our code of this UI, in here this is the column, actually in our items this is the column, this is the card which is we are seeing in here, and this has clickable action. And in this we have in semantics we have test tag and content description, and content description have this specific or unique ID. So we will use this description to refer to this card. So here we will refer it like this, compose test rule dot on node with content description node1 dot id to string, and here perform click. Now after that we will be landed to our this node detail screen, and we also need to verify that we are successfully landed on this screen. So we need to we have a specific key in here which is defined in the title of the screen. This is named as add node screen. So we will refer to this content description to verify that we are successfully landed on the screen. So we will use same this code of block, paste it in here on node with content description, and here we will pass the what is the add node screen, add node screen. And if it is displayed, if this is displayed, that means that we are landed on our detail screen. So now our next step would be at the updated title and description to this field. So that here we will create another variable. Let's say we are node detail screen, and now we will need to update title and description and tap on back button. This would be our plan here, and here we will refer to these title and description with the with its content description. Compose just rule dot on node with content description enter title, and here what we will do is we will first clear this title, so clear text, and then input text, and here we will create another object updated node, and in this we will provide the updated node by making a copy of it, and in title we will provide a title like node 1 title have been updated, and this is the detail about how we can do this through test. You can write any text you want. I just doing anything which I am coming up within my mind. So now in here we will provide the title, updated node title, and same for the description by pressing Ctrl D and description, and in here we will provide the description. Now after that we need to tap on this back button. So compose test rule dot on node. What is the content description for this one? Is content description of this icon is the navigate back. So get dot perform click, and after that we will be landed back to our this home screen. So now what we will do here is that landed back on home screen and verify updated node in the listing. So to wait for the home screen we will use this text again that this is displayed, and then we will wait for the updated node title and description would be reflected. So we will only wait for the title. So if title is updated, that means description is also updated. So compose wait until, provide 4-second delay, and in here compose test rule dot on node with text, updated node dot title is displayed. So if it is passed, then that means our title and description have been reflected. So we will do the assertion here, compose test rule dot on node with text, updated title dot title assert exist, and same for the description. So yeah, this is the our first test, and yeah, now we need to run and verify this test. Okay, so we are facing some error during our injection, and the error is related to add node use case. So the issue with the add node use case is that in here we are injecting this add node use case, and here is the scope, is the application scope, but we have defined our add node use case in the view model scope. That's why it's not able to inject in the application scope. So we just need to cut it from here and move it into app module, paste it in here, and also annotate with singleton, so we will get the same instance on the view model or in the application when needed. And now we will run and verify our test. Okay, so our tests have been failed, and we need to understand why it's at what line number it's failing. 74, and here that our nodes are not being populated in the UI. So first we need to understand the here that our node have been successfully added. Okay, I think there is no issue at any point. So let's rebuild, clean the project and rebuild it again, and then try again. Okay, so after rebuilding the project, we will run it again, run our test again and see. Okay, we are still getting that error. Okay, so let me see the issue, and we'll get back you soon. Okay, so I have found the issue, and the issue is that in our add node use case, we have a certain check that if ID has -1, then we will insert that node. If ID contains any value more greater than -1, then that's mean it's an existing node and we need to update it. And in our current scenario, as our database is empty and we are running our test, in that case there is no database record in it, but in our dummy nodes we have our node ID 1, 2. So to resolve the issue, we just need to make a copy of it and provide the node ID -1 for both of these nodes, and then it will work as expected. So also we are using the ID at some place, so we will use the node ID in a separate variable we have, in which we have. So yeah, that's it. So let's run and verify this test again. Okay, so this time our tests have been successfully passed, and now we will write another test, and in that test we will edit our first node 2 times. So as a developer, it won't make any sense why we are editing any node 2 times to verify that it's working as expected. But if we see from QA perspective, then it should be successfully worked in this way or in this flow as well. So for that we will create another function named as, actually we will copy this existing test and paste it in here and modify it according to our need. So edit first node 2 times, and updated nodes should be reflected in home listing. This is our need, and now again in this also require that we will land it on our node screen. on our home screen, and then after that we will verify our node 1. So I will modify this code a little bit to make it easy to reusable. So node 1 dot let node, and copy this code of block from here and paste it in here. And now we will use this node in here and use node 1 ID here, node updated node. So yeah, this is it. So verify this for first time and for second time. Actually, we need to move it. This is okay. So, and for second time we will again copy this code of block and paste it in here, as this time this node 1 will contains the older version of the information, so we don't need to validate this title because we are already on our home screen, because in our first test we are verified that our updated node have been successfully reflected. So here all this information will be same, just need to update this title and description here. Let's do it that dash second time, and also put dash in here second time, and rest of the code will be same. So now let's run and verify this test. Okay, so our this test have been successfully passed, and our next test would be that as we are inserting new two nodes in our database, so we will update and edit and update those both nodes one by one. So for that I will still need this code, so I will copy this code, paste it in here, and make it edit two nodes one by one, and update the nodes should be reflected in here. This is our requirement. So our first node is node 1, so for that we will write like node 1 dot let node, and copy this code of block, paste it in here, and in here again tweak this a little bit to use this name here, node in here, and yeah, that is for node 1, and copy this again, Control C and Control V, and in here we have node 2, and actually this time we won't need to use this one because we are already landed on home screen and listing is showing, and we just need to use the node 2 ID to verify that to tap on that second node, and here just need to make it that this is the through second node. Okay, and rest of the information would be same, no change needed here. So yeah, that's it. So let's run and verify our this test. In this test we are editing both nodes one by one and verifying that they are reflected on the UI. So let's run it and verify. Okay, so our this test have been successfully passed. And our last step would be to run all the tests. So we will right click on this file and run it. So it will run all the these three tests one by one. Okay, so our only first test has been run successfully. Other are not worked or as expected. So where would be the issue? The issue is at line number 213 and not able to find that node ID. And this is our edit node, two nodes one by one. And here we are finding it through is one content description because node 1 has ID 1. So the issue here is that first we need to understand that what is the information for this against this content description which we are trying to see. So root print log and provide the tag in here. Okay, and now let's run all the tests again and verify what is the ID when and why is just failing. Okay, so our second test is failing at this point and we will diagnose that what is the information when this is let's say our node here it has ID 1, but in our compose tree, compose UI tree, what is the information there? We will scroll a little bit up and in here in our nodes we have content description 3 and 4. For node 1 and node 2 title, these nodes, they 3 or 4. This is because our database do these insertion entries in an incremental order. So let's say when the first test run, it have made 2 entries and then the IDs will be 1 and 2 for sequentially. And then after the completion of the first test, the onDestory method call and which destroy all the methods, all the entries in the database. And for the second test, when that run, then these 2 entries have been done again in the database. And obviously, as database is working in incremental order, then this time the ID for this node will be 3, and the ID of this node for this node will be 4. So for that, to resolve that, we need to provide the updated node IDs to this variable. So for that, we have a use case named as listen node use case. And also inject this one, and in here we will use background scope dot launch unconfined test dispatcher and use the test scheduler which we are getting from this run test. We are using this background scope. This will help us to auto cancel this coroutine when the execution of this method is completed. So this is specifically for the tests. So here we will listen dot execute dot correct, use the when condition in here, press alt enter to add the remaining branches, and in here we only need the insert. So for the other one we will use unit variable, and in here we need that. So in when condition, if event dot value dot title is equal to not one dot title, then it's mean it is this is the first insert node have been successfully inserted. So we will store the value not one id into by getting from this inserted node, and we also need to make our this node one to var, and then we will select and press Ctrl D, and this would be goes for the node 2. Node 2 and node 2 also press alt enter to change it to var. Now this will work as expected, and the next thing that we need to do is we need to move this delete node listen nodes is at the view model scope, because we are using at only home screen only, but now we will need to move it to application scope. So we will go to our app module and paste it in here and make it singleton also. So now we will run our test again, and this is an experimental API, so we need to opt in to give us our consent that we know that there's an experimental API, and anything or any loss if we occur in every enterprise level app, then we are responsible for that. So let's run and verify. This all tests together. Okay, so all of our three tests have been successfully passed. So this is it for today's video. So I hope this would be an meaningful information for you to apply that in your current project. So thank you for watching. Bye.